Hey guys, we're back with another episode of the Red and White Podcast. This is episode 3, and it's Go to Hell Carolina Week. Dustin and I talk a little bit about Carolina. We'll take some calls, some thoughts from you guys about Carolina. We appreciate all the calls. Feel free to give us a call, 919-766-0096. Give us your pre- or post-game thoughts, whatever. But first, we're going to take a look at the Virginia Tech game. Nice win for the Pack. Thanks for listening.
Hey man, this is Robbie out of Graham, North Carolina, and I feel the Pack can win today. They get a solid post presence. We keep crashing the boards like we're supposed to. I mean, we have these flashes of brilliance, and then we go out there and we end up playing like a middle school team every now and then. But I feel like as long as we can keep crashing the boards, Bernard Freeman, Kyle Washington, BJ, just establish a strong post presence.
My name's Adam. My prediction for tonight is State 79, Virginia Tech 70.
Hey, Austin from Wilmington, long-time listener, first-time caller. Listen to both episodes, nice job. Two quick things. Number one, prediction for the game tonight with Virginia Tech, NC State. I'm going to go with 83 NC State and Virginia Tech at 71. There you go. And secondly, just nice job overall. Anyway, enjoyed the show. I guess that's really about it. Enjoy. See ya.
Welcome to the Go to Hell Carolina. The Red and White podcast. Opened it up a little different this time, playing some calls. So thank y'all for that, and thanks to Austin for the kind words. We're really glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. We actually got people to call.
Yeah,
give us their thoughts.
We had to
couldn't have worked out better.
Do some bribery to start with, but Evan ended up giving away some tickets.
Yeah, Robbie from Graham, North Carolina was the big winner. He was one of the first few callers, and we were happy to give him to him. Anytime we can put a Wolfpack fan in the seats when we couldn't make it, I think it works out for everybody.
Absolutely. I talked to him on Twitter. He apparently, I think, took his dad. They're pretty excited, so that's cool. But
Perfect. Perfect.
Overall, I think everybody that called in was pretty confident that we were going to beat VT, and apparently they should have been, yeah?
Yeah, but Virginia Tech they're pretty bad. Not going to sugarcoat that one. They're young. Like we said last time that Buzz is going to turn it around because he's a good coach, but right now, we should have blown them out of the gym. If they didn't hit 10 in a row at one point, it would have been a 30-point win. But
we just don't do that,
Yeah, that's not our thing. We like to keep it close.
Yeah, I think really a lot of that game went back to what we were fussing about after Virginia, and we actually had a 3-point shooter, and Ralston Turner showed up.
He's been so inconsistent the last few games, and if he starts hitting them, then it's perfect for us. But then with the way Cat's been playing, we haven't had those two play good together yet. If they put together a solid game between the two of them, I think we really could have something going. Right about the right time too.
That's going to happen Tuesday night, But I don't know.
Fairly confident.
If you look at the guards for that game, Ralston had 18, Trevor with 14, and Cat with 10. So that's not the 20-point outburst we've seen from Cat, but he had 4 assists to go along with it. So that kind of helps.
He doesn't have to have the 20 points. He just needs to play aggressive. He needs to keep trying to get to the rim, and that's what he was doing. If he gets to the rim, the guys are going to start collapsing. That's when you're going to open it up for for Ralston. And I think Trevor's the same way. At times they have a tendency to just settle for long jumpers. Kind of the whole team does. I think you saw that in the first part of the second half. They just kind of get in a lull and take long jumpers. And that's just not what they're best at.
Right.
Cat getting to the rack, it really got to keep the defense honest. And I think that's huge. So he doesn't have to score 20 points, but he keeps getting the 10, 15 that he's been getting, the way he's been getting them. I think that's huge for us.
Yeah. If you look, we got some good minutes out of one of the Martins this time. You never know which one's going to be, but Caleb showed up this time. 8 points, hit a couple of good 3-point shots that were just every time they went down, you're like, man, that could be a dagger kind of things. And
he's good. I like both of them. The way they both play hard. You never know. I mean, I think you can put either one in, and you can get something out of them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it just depends on the game itself. I'm looking. I don't even think Cody got on the floor then that game. If he did, he's just on the box score. But good minutes out of Caleb, good minutes out of BJ. Leonard Freeman had a really solid game defensively. I thought he was really important. It doesn't show on the stat sheet, but I think he had a good game.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. The coach put him in the lineup the last few games, and it's not for his offensive. We have the offense. We need guys that can rebound, defend the block. Kyle was kind of up and down, so it's a little strange that he didn't get that much playing time. I mean, at all in that game.
Yeah, that was kind of no minutes,
Yeah, I'm sure it has something to do with how practice went. Right, coach is we have the depth at the big guys that if Abu doesn't get in foul trouble, he's going to stay in there a while. And the same thing with Anya and Freeman, or Anya at least. So then it gives you leeway. If whoever's playing better, you put him in there. And Freeman's been playing better. He's been a little bit more consistent. I think that's what you're looking for. It gives us a little bit of freedom there and play whoever's playing better, whoever's practicing better. Kyle's just sometimes he's just so frustrating, right? He plays hard and you love it. He's got the energy, but then he takes that 19-footer and you're like, no! And he makes one of them and it goes in, and you're like, all right.
Well, I mean, if it goes in, it becomes even worse because then you're like, well, shit, he's going to take them all game now.
Yeah. So it's not his best attribute, taking those long jumpers. But he hasn't. I don't know what his percentage is, but it hasn't been too bad. But it's just, I don't know. It's not the shot I want to take. I want our guards taking those long shots. I want Kyle with his little left-handed baby hook in their lane, and that's what I think Gottfried wants out of him. I think the same thing.
Yeah, and I think too the game dictated who you saw play. I think if we were down 5 or 10, then you would have seen Washington come in.
Yeah.
But we didn't really need his. I mean, he's a better offensive player than Freeman. There's no doubt. But we never really needed that. Well, somebody's got to go in and do something. So I think that might have been a key there. Like you said, I'm sure it was a practice thing, reward for that. But I think Freeman's a little better defensively. If we had needed the points, I think you might have saw the general come in. But it's funny though. He reminds me so much. He's better inside, but. What did you think of Deshaun Painter back in the day?
I mean, he was serviceable.
I loved Deshaun Painter. That jump shot he had, it was either on and it was going in every time, or it was not even going to hit the rim. But when he was on, he was like my favorite player on the team, I swear.
He would be, a senior now? Or maybe he'd been gone by now.
I think he'd be gone. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it broke my heart. Where did he go? DePaul, I think?
No, didn't he go like Old Dominion or
Old Dominion, maybe?
Home?
Yeah, that sounds right. But yeah, that just came out of nowhere. It broke my heart.
Yeah, I think it was it was a family related thing.
Yeah, it was nice to see a game too where it was comfortable enough to get the walk-ons in, give them some time. See that nice little baby court shot to beat the buzzer was pretty sweet.
That was pretty awesome. I like this tweet from his dad saying he was never been so proud and see his son hit the buzzer beater. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Other than that, I mean, is there anything else to say about that game? It kind of went #as expected, right?
Yeah, it did. We shot plus 80% from the line, and that's good. That's really good for us. We need to keep that up.
Oh yeah, that's huge, especially tourney time. We're getting close, so that shouldn't even be an issue now. It should just be expected,
Yeah, agreed.
But other than that, no, I think we came out, we got a sizable lead, we gave it away, which, as expected. But then we were able to fight back from it. So hopefully that shows growth. Who knows? Going off from that, we'll just do a little touch on women's basketball. That's had a hell of a week, really. Huge comeback against Miami. A win over Duke yesterday in front of a huge crowd from what I understand. And apparently they had a nice court storming, which is unheard of for women's basketball.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's
got to
awesome.
be a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah,
put it in the show notes.
One would think, yeah. But, it seems Wes Miller's got it going in the right direction. Can't hurt to have women's basketball doing well, along with the men. Trying to win that cup, so.
I like the Wes Miller hire. I don't really know much about women's basketball, but if you look at his resume and see what he's done other places, I think that was a really good hire, and he's doing the right things here. So far, so good.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Debbie really stressed when she showed up was that every program every sport is going to carry their weight, and if you can't do it, you're out. And she's really followed through with that, and the Olympic sports have seen a really big surge under her. Look at wrestling's top 25 now. Some other sports, I think maybe swimming or something like that's really good too. I'm not going to act like I know a lot about it because I don't, but I'm happy for it,
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, we're going to take a break, play some calls that we got in for UNC previews, and then the second half of the show, we'll dive into hating Carolina. So we'll talk to you in a bit.
NC State 75, UNC 68. This is Jim Edwards.
Hey, I'm just calling to give my prediction for the UNC game. I think we're playing great. I think UNC is playing pretty well right now as well. I really feel like JP Tokoto is the perfect guy that you would want to guard a guy like Trevor Lacey. For that reason, I think this is kind of a bad matchup. I see us giving them a good game. I'm going to go with 84-80.
Yeah, I was calling in with a prediction on the Carolina game. I think this will be the first year that we actually show up from the get-go, like we did with Louisville, and State gets the victory. It'll probably be 5 points. Saw your message on statefans.com, State Fans Nation.
Hey, this is Robbie calling in from Graham, North Carolina. I feel as if State can play with anybody in the country as long as our bigs are playing good. I might come off like a broken record by stating that, but I feel like it's true. As long as our Kyle Washington, B.J. Anya, Leonard Freeman, as long as those guys are crashing the boards, staying solid, playing, at least some decent defense without getting into foul trouble, I feel like we can play with anybody in the country. And Marcus Page, every time we play the holes, he's motivated for some reason. He gives us hell. He plays his guts out every time that we play him. But if we can keep him somewhat contained, I think State goes into Chapel Hill and picks up a crucial conference win against the Tar Bones. Go Wolfpack.
So, welcome back. Thanks for the calls. Again, we really appreciate it. Seems that a lot of people are on board with me that we're going to go to Chapel Hill and get a win. But we had one there that was pretty agreeable that it's going to be a tough game, which is more on par with Evan's thoughts. But I'm not saying it's going to be they're not going to be a tough game, but I think we'll get a win.
So if we're keeping score, that's 4 for State and then 1 for UNC. With my vote undecided at the moment.
Undecided? I thought you were staunch. We're not winning.
Well, that's just a Wolfpack fan. I'm going to give it till the end of the episode.
Uh-oh.
Maybe you can convince me otherwise.
There you go. There's suspense. You have to stay until the end now.
That's right.
But, going to Chapel Hill tomorrow to play the North Carolina Marcus Pages. What do you think?
Marcus Page has been a bane to my existence here. Every game in PNC, he's just... they call him PNC Page for a reason. I don't even know. I don't know if he can keep it up in the Dean Dome, but I don't know. He's just been he's been trouble for us ever since I guess last year was his first year, but ever since he just seems to play better against us than he does anybody. He wasn't playing that well against. He didn't play that well against Duke. Quinn Cook pretty much shut him down for the most part, and who they play? Georgia Tech. He had an okay game against Georgia Tech. They didn't really need it. They were destroying him. But,
yeah, that was a toe-to-toe show.
Yeah, he's just so good. I mean, I'm stealing another one of Joe Giglio's tweets. I'll give him credit for it. Marcus Page is averaging 18 points a game versus NC State and 11 versus everybody else.
That's unreal, man.
Like, he's 50% from 3-point land and 37 against it for everybody else.
That's Roy's boy, man.
It is unbelievable.
What are you going to do? It's every game. You expect it. We know it coming in, and he's still... I tell you, that game last year with him and Warren going at each other, that was one of the best one-on-ones I've ever seen.
It really was one of the best games. I mean, despite the outcome, it was still one of the best games, played in Raleigh.
Oh, yeah,
that
hell
was
of a
awesome.
game.
That was awesome to see. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, those two, I mean, it's... Neither one wanted... They both were sure they could get the win for their team, and they both deserved it, really. Side note, could you imagine the team this year if TJ Warren had stayed one more?
Oh, gosh. There wouldn't be enough balls to go around. They always, the old cliche, there are enough balls to go around. TJ was here, it wouldn't be enough balls to go around.
Yeah.
But it would be awesome to see.
Oh, God. Oh, I mean, who takes the last shot on that hypothetical team? TJ or Trevor?
I think you got to give it to Trevor for the last shot.
Over TJ, really? What if you only need one and it's going inside?
If it's going inside, if it's anywhere inside the paint, I'm giving it to TJ.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of that. That's depressing.
That is depressing.
So, tomorrow, say that we somehow stop Marcus Page. We're not going to stop him, but get him to a containable type of thing. Who's the difference in the game? Is it Cat?
Yeah, if we can keep Page to his regular average, which is all I'm asking. I don't want him to get to his NC State average. Then I think Cat could be the difference maker because he's been playing on another level lately. I mean, he's been playing, like the guy we thought he should be, and I think he can give them fits. I know they're athletic, they're long, Tokudo, whatever. But I think Cat can be a difference maker, getting to the rim, getting on the breaks. I mean, I think he needs to continue his good play.
See, I'll say I expect a good game out of him. I don't think necessarily that he will make or break the game. I think it sounds like I'm on repeat, but we have to have a 3-point threat. So whether it's Ralston, who showed up last game, if he's off, then Cat's got to be able to take a couple of those threes comfortably and feel good about them and make them. If he misses the first couple, it's going to be a tough game. Somebody's got to be able to hit something from outside because I think they will.
So, my thoughts on that is if we need Ralston to hit from the outside, because if we don't, then everybody else starts jacking up from the outside. And that's just not what's best for us. I mean, our most of our guys are better getting to the rim. Trevor, Cat, those guys need to get in the lane, get the mid-range jumper, and then that opens it up for Ross on the outside.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think too, though. It's Cat's been a different player the last 5 or 6 games, but I think he goes from a good/great player to a deadly player if he can get an outside shot consistently. If he can start driving, get them on their heels, and then just stop, break their ankles, pull up for a 3, and it go in.
Right.
That would make him he's not going to be here 4 years type of player. So maybe he shouldn't do that, but I think if Ralston's off, it's going to be a tough game, a real tough game. I don't know that we can get out. 2 things for me. 2 things are key. Ralston has to be hot, or not necessarily hot, but serviceable from outside. And like you said, Page cannot get to his average. If he gets to 18 points, we're done.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Page gets 18, 20. It's going to be a long night for us.
Yeah, I just don't know who we've got that can... I don't know who we have that can equalize that. I'm not saying we don't have the players, but if he's doing that, then there's going to be other people doing other things that are going to be a big problem for us.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have. They're similar to us. They don't have that many outside shooters. They have some guys that can hit it, but that's not their best. It's not their best game.
No, and that's been a trend with Carolina teams the past couple of years.
Right, it's been their downfall. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily in the Fire Roy crowd or anything, because I think they're lucky as hell to be where they're at, given the situation they should be in from the NCAA. That's a whole other discussion, whatever. But there's been a lack of that pure shooter. I think that's what's taken away the titles that Carolina fans think they should be winning every other year. But
well, I'm going to say this now. There's probably nobody I hate more than Roy Williams, but he's done what he's done there. So I got to give him that kind of credit. But man, he annoys the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, dadgum, heck, give me a cola. But other than that, something else I saw that I thought was kind of cool, or not necessarily. Well, it's good. Something else that we seem to take stuff from Joe Giglio a lot, but. Apparently, we were doing a shoot-around in the Dean Dome tonight, which we've never done against Carolina. I think that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, we did it against Duke, but we've never gone to Carolina the day before to have a shoot-around in the gym. I mean, that can't lead to bad things, right?
I think it's awesome. I didn't know that, for a young team to, walk in there and be able to shoot around and kind of get a little comfortable with it. I think that's a great move. That is a fantastic move by Godfrey.
And something else I would have done too, when I led the team onto the court, I would have turned to both the Martins and been like, hey, you could have played here, but they didn't recruit you.
That's right. Get them fired up.
Yeah. Then again, I don't know if you want them fired up any more than they already are.
That's true.
But it can't be a bad thing. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was a great move. That's really cool.
Right. It's going to be a good game no matter what. End of the day, win or lose, I still hate Carolina. How about you? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that, you got something for us, don't you, Evan?
I know. I'm avoiding it.
Are you?
I hate the heels.
I mean, we're not betting your house or anything, so.
I know, but I don't want to pick the Pack because I feel like I jinx them. And you can never feel good about going to Chapel Hill and playing anything. It could be the freaking rifle team, and I still wouldn't feel confident going to Chapel Hill. The bass team, I wouldn't feel confident going to Chapel Hill.
See, that's what
I just hate.
I will never.
I just hate them.
State for anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I think we'll play better. We've been playing well, and we should have had them in Raleigh. I really think we could. We didn't play well, and we still had a chance. So I think it's gonna be a close one. I think it'll be somewhere around 74-70. I don't think we're gonna be. I'm not picking us to be on the right side of that one.
Oh, Carolina, eh?
I can't do it. I can't pick the Pack. It's ingrained in me. I hate them so much. If I pick the Pack, we're gonna lose, and I'm gonna feel bad.
Well. Public service announcement. All hate tweets send to @ER on Twitter. If you send them to the podcast, I will get notifications on my phone as well, and I don't deserve this hate. So make sure that is directed straight at Mr. Evan himself.
I will take him. Yeah. But it's just, I've seen it too many times. I can't do it.
Yeah,
well, with that said, we're going to take a quick break. Dustin's going to get another beer. Then when we come back, we're going to play some of the calls we got.
Hey guys, it's Chris calling in here. A junior at NC State, and just been following the team all season. And I'm really interested in your thoughts on one of my biggest concerns with basketball this season has been inconsistency. But here's the biggest thing. I think the win at Louisville did not really restore my faith that we could, go to the tournament, do some damage, maybe win a couple more games. It was the win with Virginia Tech coming in that really made me think, yeah, this is a team that can dominate the teams it's supposed to and go on the road and win some difficult games and really show a display of power. And that's something we've lacked throughout the entire season is consistency because we manhandle Duke when they come in to our PNC arena and then we drop some dumb games on the road that we should have beaten and get really blown away by Clemson at home and some other good teams that we should have beaten, but they just put up a fight. So I think now with the Virginia Tech win, which was a very comfortable lead, I finally feel like this team's coming together at the right time. So what are your thoughts on that? Just let me know. What do you think? When did you guys are obviously big supporters, so when did you guys start to believe that this team could do some damage? Let me know your thoughts. Look forward to hearing the podcast, whichever one goes out next. I'm a first-time caller, but really interested in what you guys have to say. So thanks a bunch for doing the Red and White podcast, and go Pack.
All right, so Chris referenced inconsistency, and I want to tell you all a little story. After the Louisville game, I sent Evan a text message it basically said, expletive this team, because of the inconsistency that they can't seem to shed. I was so angry because I saw what they could do, but then I see them play a Cincinnati and get blown out. What do you think?
I think he nailed it. You know, he's a relatively new Pack fan. I'm going to say, he's still in college, but inconsistencies of what I've been struggling with almost all NC State athletics since I've been an NC State fan. You know, it's nearly 30 years now, and it's just, they win the game that they're not supposed to win, and they just lay an egg when they should win the game, and it's just so frustrating. So I understand what he's talking about, completely. The team's been up and down this year. You even saw it in the Virginia Tech game. They've played really well the first 10 minutes, and then inconsistent in the last 5 minutes of the first half. And then it comes back and they pick it up. So we get it. It's frustrating as hell. It always has been,
and it's never going to go away, I don't think.
I just feel like it's just what we're stuck with. It's just one of those things, and I hate to say get used to it, but you kind of got to get used to it.
It's been there for like you said. It's something that, is this team inconsistent? Yeah. Is that what's going to hold them back in the end? It could be, absolutely. But talk too that Louisville didn't restore faith in him, or faith for him, and I get that because Duke, we came out and did that, and then absolute disaster after. And then he talked about Virginia Tech, and honestly, I think he might be right. That VT win might be bigger than Louisville, because that's a game that we were supposed to win, and that's one we always have trouble with.
Yeah, I think from a State fan's perspective, I think he's exactly right. That VT game, was troublesome because you think, especially when they started hitting shots there, you're like, oh crap, here we go. This is what's going to happen. But they hung on. They kind of fought back into a little bit, and they were okay. So I like it. It sounds like an excuse, but I do agree that we're a young team. It's what plays part in the inconsistency. I don't think that's I hate that excuse, the youth, but it's relevant. It's just, it is. We only have one senior, and the other guys are just new playing. Lacey hasn't played in a year. The Martin twins, they've only played 16 games or whatever we're into the season. Oh, we're in 27 games into the season, aren't we?
Yeah, it's for me. I'm kind of in agreement with you, Chris. I think the VT win was huge because I'm used to us having a big win and then coming back and losing the next game that we should win. That's a normal thing for us. I think that was a big step. Seeing if they can carry that over until tomorrow night, that's something altogether different. But we'll find out soon.
I think we talked about it before. Cat is the difference in the first half of this year, that team, and then the team that's played the last 6 or 7 games. If he keeps playing like that, I think that helps everybody else. Ralston's going to have up and down nights, and it takes a little bit of the pressure off of it. Before, early on, if Ralston's not hitting those shots, then it's all on Trevor, and there's no other help, or consistent help at least.
Right. And that's, if we can get consistency out of one player, then that's a start,
Right.
But I would say that consistently inconsistent is on par with NC State athletics as a whole, not just basketball.
Right. Well, who do we got for the second call?
We got Joe, and we'll turn it over to you now, Joe.
Hey guys, this is Joe Johnson, state grad, 11 and 13. I'm enjoying the podcast so far. Listening to that second episode just a couple minutes ago. I want to hear you guys talk a little bit about the difference that age is going to play between our football and basketball team. Obviously, age played a big role in our football team last year. We had a lot of freshmen. I feel like we have a young team again in basketball this year, but in basketball you get so many freshmen one and dones that I don't even know if it makes a difference. You know, if that'll really raise us to another level to get more experience next year. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to episode 3.
All right, so Joe wants to talk about age and what role it plays in basketball and football. What do you think?
So that's a good point. It was a good call. And we touched on it a little bit with basketball, and while you've seen the pack beat up and down and whatnot, it's tough. It's tough to judge because football youth is definitely a big factor, right? I mean, those guys. There's a difference between playing an 18-year-old freshman and a 22-year-old redshirt senior. I mean, I think it makes a difference at most positions. Maybe skill positions you can get away with playing some freshmen because it's a speed-based position if they're refined enough. But guys like Jim Grobe, he made his living playing redshirt seniors and redshirt juniors, and that's why. It's because they're more developed, they're better players, they're more mature, they understand everything a little bit better. So with football, it's definitely an impact if you're playing a lot of freshmen, which we have. I think we're not, if not the youngest team, one of the youngest teams in the country. I think the stat was like 75% underclassmen, and that's huge. And to still be able to win the games they won, I think that
says a lot about the players and the staff.
It does. It absolutely does.
And I think that's a good point. That's something that didn't get a lot of talk this year, but to win the games we did with the age of the team says so much for the coaching staff, not just the head coach, all the position coaches as well. To get that out of the players that they did, that's huge. Yeah, we lost that Louisville game and it upset people because we could have won. Well, that's going to happen, but then we went to Syracuse and won that game.
Right. And they didn't give up. They didn't give up on the season. That was part of with freshmen, they can go either way. They could fold it in or they could rally, and they rallied, and I think that's an awesome sign for what Dorn is doing with the program.
Absolutely. I think from the football standpoint, age definitely has a bigger effect on the overall thing, like you said. But I think when you have a team that can pull out games like we did this year, being that young, if you want to look into the future for 3 years from now, it's only good things. I think those players grow up, and I mean, we're on the right track. I can't see the future, but we're going to win some ball games,
I agree. And and Joe brought up basketball as well. And I think it's a different mentality with basketball. If you have the one and dones, and there's maybe 10, 15 of those guys, and if you have those guys, then they can come in and play right away, and they can make a difference. But again, if you have guys like Cody and Caleb, they're not, they're good, and they're good talented guys. They're 4-star guys, but they're not one and dones. And so you want them to stay and develop. I can't wait to see those two when they're juniors. I mean, they'll have the game's going to be refined. They'll be more mature physically, mentally. I think it's definitely an impact. If you don't have the one and done talent, being a freshman, being young, it impacts your team. It impacts the performance. And I think you've seen that with some of the games we've lost at the end of the game. Maybe if some of those guys are a little more experienced, a little more, refined, or have been through it before, they understand the emotions and they'll control a little bit better. I think it's an impact. And so I agree with what Joe was saying. I just think with one and dones in basketball, there's a few of them that are going to be that kind of difference makers. The rest of them, it's kind of it's impact. It's like football. They're going to be a little bit more impact with them playing basketball, but it's still not going to. There's still an excuse built in there, and I keep saying excuse. Still a reason for, some of the ups and downs, some of the inconsistencies.
Yeah, and I think with basketball too, you see a lot more of pure ready-to-go talent. There's a little bit of that out there. There's not a lot. Look in Durham. You got Jaleel Okafor. That is a pure talent that's just ready to go.
Right.
And then you come to Raleigh, and you got the Martin twins, who I would say have raw talent. Like, it's there. They have the talent. It's just not developed. Like you said, it's not refined yet, but it will be.
Right.
Basketball, I think, there's a lot more credit than is deserved that goes into one-and-dones. You can talk about Kentucky. They should have won the title every year. But how many do they have? One, I think? I mean...
I have no idea.
Yeah. You look at that. Well, we even talked about it. The first or second game this year. Like, well, they're never going to lose a game, and they haven't. But they play in the SEC.
Right.
Put them in the tournament. Put them up against... I want to go State Homer. Put them up against a Dayton.
Let's go, Archie.
Yeah, that's right. Or even a Virginia, you know.
I heard a great analogy in what people were talking about. It was an article that went floating around, and is Kentucky the Florida State of basketball? You know, Florida State, they played in the ACC, maybe not as strong as the SEC, but, and you know, flip around for basketball, Kentucky's playing the SEC. It's not nearly as strong as the ACC. They're running through it. Florida State ran through it. I think there's some relevance there. I think Kentucky's going to lose at some point. My opinion, after the first game when they played Kansas and they just destroyed them to where they are now, I think they're beatable. I think they're beatable. I think somebody, like you said, Dayton or Virginia or Wisconsin, somebody plays some defense. Somebody's not afraid to bang around with those big guys.
Wisconsin would tear Kentucky apart. I'm not. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Kentucky.
Sorry.
Well, no, I went on a Kentucky hate rant, but yeah, I think age is more of an issue in football than it is basketball.
Right.
Just because you have those players that come in. Plus, there's 5 guys on the court in basketball, whereas you've got 5 guys doing something. If you look at football, if you have one guy do something wrong, that completely messes up the whole play.
Right.
Whereas there's less of a chance of error in basketball. I think that can be overcame more. But I think that's a good question, man.
It is. It's something to think about. Beginning of the football season, we won the games against the jump teams that we're supposed to win, and then the games start getting a little harder, and you can tell they were playing better, right? They were played better than the year before when everything was just a train wreck. So we still lost the games, but that's when I say, well, they're young, but at least they're improving. They're playing games closer. They're getting there. I think even Tom O'Brien said it once. She's like, you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, then you win big.
Yeah.
And I think that's the progression they're going through, and you can see that. You can see them getting better, whether or not they're winning or they're whether or not they're winning or losing. You can definitely see improvement in football.
Yeah, and I think you'll see the advancement of age play a bigger role in football than basketball. I think our football team is going to be really good in a year or two. Basketball, it depends on recruiting, but football, there's a foundation there that you're going to see those players grow up, and it's going to make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. The talent coming in,
yeah,
it's definitely going to make a difference. Basketball's so hard to tell because I don't really follow basketball recruiting very well. It's just they're recruiting middle schoolers and things like that, and I can't get into that. Yeah. But anything can happen. I remember watching some of the Herb teams when guys like Cedric Simmons or Josh Powell, they left a year early, a year before they should have, and it's just if you have those things happen, you just can't really predict them.
C.J. Leslie.
Oh yeah, C.J. Leslie. I mean, he's an example as well. I mean, these guys. Somebody's telling them one thing. Maybe they don't like school or something. I don't know, but you can never know if that's going to happen. With basketball, is a little bit more. That has a bigger impact. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
Well, I think that's all we really had on par for the show. We've started to get some iTunes reviews. I saw a couple on there. Definitely thank you for those. We asked for a couple more. That'd be awesome.
Shrimpy. Thanks to Shrimpy for being our first
that's
review.
The one I remember because I asked Evan how to pronounce it. It's Shrimpy with a CH. And definitely keep the calls coming in. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope it's something we can keep doing. Give us a call, leave us a message. The number's 919-766-0096. You got anything else, Evan?
No, I'm good. Thanks everybody. We've had some great feedback about the podcast. We'll get better. We're kind of figuring it out as we go. But keep the calls, keep the tweets coming. I think that helps, and everybody enjoys it.
Absolutely. Go Pack.
Go to hell, Carolina.
That's it.